getting transferred by her to a doctor who performed the cesarean. Well, with this pregnancy, I didn't have a midwife. I only had a doula who was very nice. She was here. I did tell her that I really didn't want any assistance. So I believe I had two meetings with her before I called her when I was in labor. When I was in labor, I called the doula. She came by. She was supportive. I was in the shower. I tried to shower. That didn't work. This baby was not coming out. I tried laying in bed. It didn't work out. I tried pretty much every other position that I saw from watching hundreds of unassisted pregnancy videos. None of them seemed to work except for me being on all fours. When I got on all fours, that's when things started to move. This is maybe about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And I thought I was ready, but this baby's not coming out. So I get on my knees. I tried that. That didn't work out. And so the doula asked me, "Do you want to be checked?" I have not been checked throughout this pregnancy. So I have no idea how far I was as far as dilation. So I'm getting been up. I'm getting tired. So I said, "Sure, go ahead." She checked me. She says, "You're only 2%, or 2 centimeters, excuse me. You're only 2 centimeters dilated." I'm like, 2 centimeters? I feel like I'm dying. 2 centimeters is not going to do it. So she asked me if I want to go to the doctor or if I want to transfer to a hospital. I said no, of course. So I tried maybe for another 30 minutes to an hour, still nothing. The baby is not out. So I said, okay, fine, let's go. So I get up, I grab a couple of items and put in a bag because I didn't pack a bag. I had no intentions of going to any hospitals. I packed this bag with maybe 5 items, and my husband puts it in the car. I go downstairs. I try to get in the car. I lift my leg, and then I feel a drop, something. I felt something outside of my body. So I put my finger to touch, and I felt a leg. I'm like, okay. Now, remember, I have fibroids, and being the age that I am, I have so called two risk factors at this point. Now I'm having a breech birth, and this baby is coming legs first. The only thing that came to my mind at this point is this leg is already out. I'm not ready to go through getting to the hospital, which is about 25 minutes away from me, and then waiting to be processed before I would push this baby, or God forbid, having the baby in the car before I get there. So I said, I'm going back in the house. Remember, I didn't want to go to the hospital in the first place. So I go back in the house and I get on all fours. I tried being on my knee, didn't work. So I got on all fours and I pushed the baby. Now the baby came out, but then she got stuck. I didn't know I was having a girl. The doula says, "Oh, come on, baby." And that's when I knew I was having a daughter, because she referenced the gender. I had no idea. I've never checked with any of my babies, so I was okay with whatever God gives me. I can't take them back anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't really know the point of checking gender, but I digress. So I went ahead and tried to turn in directions, and then my doula stepped in. She tried to turn her shoulders so we can get her out, but it took a couple of minutes to get this baby out. But in that moment, my doula had already called the paramedics, so she told my husband to call the paramedics. As soon as this baby came out, I mean, I'm so close to a police station, so it didn't take that long. It was maybe at the most, it took them 3 minutes or maybe five. I don't know. Time has stopped for me. Um, so I tried to maneuver. The baby's shoulder did fall out. Once the baby's shoulder came out, the baby's head came out. But she wasn't responsive for a good second because she just came out. And remember, she was breech. So she wasn't breathing for a couple of seconds, I'm going to say. Because when the body is out and the head is stuck, she's not getting air. But I didn't think it was anything because, first of all, I don't consider breech births abnormal. I think they're just an alternate form of normal. And I really just felt like she needed a little slap here and there, turned upside down, and she'll be fine. But by the time, and I wanted a lotus birth, I wanted all these wonderful natural things for my baby. That didn't happen. As soon as her head came out, the paramedics were in my bedroom. They snatched her, snipped the cord, and grabbed her and took her away. I didn't even hold my child for 1 second. They grabbed her and they took her away. They took her to the children's hospital. And then they called for another paramedic truck to come and pick me up because I can't go to a children's hospital. And they took me to a different hospital to go and deliver the placenta. I guess I don't know why they took me, but they took me to one hospital and they took her to a different hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, my placenta wasn't delivered yet. They surrounded me. I had maybe 10 doctors, which is again part of the whole trauma of birthing that a lot of these doctors don't realize. It's well lit. It's a bunch of strangers over my head, one sticking his whole entire hand into me, trying to pull my placenta out. They kept tugging at it, pressing down on my stomach. Mind you, I just had a baby maybe an hour ago. They were pressing and pulling, and just blood was just gushing out of me. That whole floor was a pool of blood, and I'm not exaggerating. I had lost so much blood because they kept trying, and then they were telling me I had to go to surgery because the placenta was not coming out. I'm like, but I just had the baby. Can you give it a little bit of time? No, the placenta needs to be out by now. I said, well, can you at least just give me a little bit more time? They kept tugging. They bring a different doctor. They had 3 different people sticking their hand in my whole entire uterus trying to pull this placenta out. And finally, they pretty much threatened me that if I don't sign this consent, um, I'm probably going to just die. And they're not responsible. And they're going off on me. I'm sitting there so confused because this right here was the nightmare I was trying to avoid. I finally was like, okay, you know what? I don't even care anymore. And poof, the placenta fell out. They're like, oh, it came out. Okay, again, this was maybe 2 hours after I gave birth. And mind you, I've read so many books and watched so many videos of women that had natural home births that the placenta didn't come out immediately and it was okay. And these doctors that are supposed to know that it's okay were telling me it's not okay. And I had to go into surgery just right now. Um, and the placenta came out. And now they want me to get a blood transfusion. I said, nope, I don't want a blood transfusion. I just want to get the heck out. They wanted to transfer me to stay for another day. I'm like, no, my baby is in another hospital. I am not spending the night here. So I went ahead and signed all the documents because I had to sign a release document because I'm leaving without the doctor's consent or the doctor's approval. I signed the release documents. I left the hospital within, I think I was there around 6, and by noon I had left. I went to straight to, no, I came home and took a nap because if anybody has had a child, I know some of you are have had kids, some of you are on your first child. If you've had babies before, then you know it's a huge major workout. So I had my child. I came home. I took a 2-hour nap, and then I headed to Children's Hospital, where I stayed for the next 7 days before they would release my daughter to come back home with me. I'll be happy to share that story with you. If you want to hear about my experience in the NICU with my daughter, please comment below and let me know some ways that you can help. I can suggest to help navigate being in the NICU, because you have to advocate for yourself. My whole experience has been about how do I advocate for me and my babies. And I went back home. I stayed in this hospital. I lived in the hospital. We finally got home, and my baby has been fine so far. She's a year and a half years old. She's healthy. She is responsive. She's joyful. She's a wonderful child. So, again, you have to trust yourself, trust your body. The God that created your body to birth a child. And you have to believe that pregnancy is not a disease. Pregnancy is a part of your DNA. Trust yourself. You got this. You can do this. And always speak up for yourself. And if you can't, find somebody that can speak for you or with you or guide you in asking the right questions or just being able to say no. One of the issues I feel we have is the fear of speaking up. We just take whatever we're told and we don't question the doctors. The doctors mean well based on their training. I'm not here to demonize anybody. I've been a health practitioner for many years. I've been trained by the same system. I know how it works. These doctors are not trying to harm you, but their training is harmful if you don't understand it. You can pick and choose. You should be able to customize. Like healthcare should be a la carte. Customize what helps you, what serves you, what's good for you, and let the rest go. Childbirth does not require consistent medical monitoring. That's my opinion. It's not a fact. Okay? And so I don't want anybody to come after me and tell me I'm giving dangerous information out here, because I'm only sharing what worked for me and my story and my experience. Thank you so much. This is my very first episode. I've been wanting to do this, share this, inspire others, encourage you. If you have any concerns, if you have any questions, if you are going through this journey and you just need support, I'll be happy to share my details of what I have been able to do to guide my experience with unassisted pregnancy and childbirth. And if you have a breech pregnancy right now and you are worried about, can I do this? Do I have to have a C-section? I would say you don't have to have a C-section, but if you feel more comfortable going through that route, by all means, don't feel any pressure not to. Okay, most of us, we make one plan and we end up with a totally different one at the end of the day. Don't beat yourself up if you did end up having a natural pregnancy and birth. When I had my breech with my first baby, I did end up with a C-section. I hated it, but my baby's fine. You know, um, just stay the course, stay strong. You got this. I love you. Take care.